We live in a time where art often appears to be an alien language. The statement does not imply that artistic tradition is wholly overlooked, of course. There are artists who produce recognizable, perhaps even beautiful images out of materials we respect. Some have impeccable command of the craft. But more often, our expectations are thwarted by confrontations with inappropriate materials and techniques, overwhelming scale, mechanical repetitiveness, blatant politics, impermanence, and/or ugliness. We are confounded by unclear or mixed messages. We are sometimes offended by simplistic or sloppy craftsmanship. We know we could do that. What's the fuss? What does it all mean anyway, we ask. Why is this art? To make matters worse, most cultural activity happens in an odd arena called the art world, confined to facilities often physically distant and sometimes psychologically remote, cold, or unwelcoming. We therefore often feel a distance from the emperor's new art and its forbidding environs. Both the lack of accessible meanings and the off-putting look of much art contribute to a sense that art is an elitist enterprise, perhaps even a sham. It is somewhat ironic that, despite constant worldwide communication by way of various technologies, we have no guarantee that Jackson Pollock's abstract paintings mean similar things to adults and children, or to art historians and agricultural workers, if in fact they mean anything at all to the uninitiated. Similarly, although we may know of Aboriginal painting from Australia, we may not understand either its technique or its message unless we are part of or deeply informed about that culture. Turning our backs on or rejecting art is too easy a response, however tempting it may seem. Art is still of utmost significance to our ability to engage meaningfully with the world, just as it has always been. Although it often looks radically different from art of the past, it continues to contain useful messages in spiritual, inspirational, and even quite rational terms. Confusion may stem partly from not so deeply buried memories of yesterday. As recorded in the histories of most cultures, the traditional role of art was based on accepted conventions. It was appropriately crafted out of predictable materials. It was also functional, sometimes in the direct sense of a bowl or tapestry, sometimes in more spiritual or didactic terms, and it serves to explain and express a culture's myths containing symbols and subjects that were universally recognized and meaningful within that culture. Powerful and magical, art embodied things that people believed and, in fact, often had the function of teaching the young as well as reminding others in the community of important truths. As such, art was both integral and essential. Its messages were clear to people, probably the way television is today. Art could function in this way, as a universally understood system, because it was localized within a relatively homogeneous and somewhat static community.